to another episode of Echoes of the Willow podcast. Again, my name is Brad, and today I wanted to talk about a bit of a sensitive topic. Just as a reminder, with this podcast, I'm talking about the whole life, from birth to death, everything in between, the good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful. I want to capture the true, raw human elements and emotions. And so today's topic is a little sensitive. It's kind of on the downside. And that topic is death. That is the inevitable thing that's going to happen to all of us. None of us make it out of life alive. And so eventually we are all going to die someday. And I know that sounds really morbid and gruesome and whatever you want to call it, but that's just the honest truth. That's the reality of our lives. And I've been doing a lot of pondering about this. When it's my time to go, when it's my turn to die, I want to be able to look back on my life and feel happy about it, that I gave it my all, that I did my best. But in reality, I make a lot of mistakes. I'm not perfect. I mean, nobody is. In fact, it's impossible to be perfect in this life. And fortunately for me, I'm not a perfectionist. I like to do things right. I like to give it my all, but I don't stress over perfection. But that is something that a lot of people do struggle with. A lot of people like their work to be perfect. Or when they're thinking about their lives, they want it to be perfect. But that aside, the ultimate goal for me, and for many of you, I'm sure, when you get to the end of your lives, is to look back and say, that's okay. I wasn't perfect, but I was a good person. I helped other people. I was present in my family's lives. I did what I could. And you know what? It's okay to make mistakes. That's all part of life. It's just trying to get past those mistakes and get better each and every day. And so I want to share a very personal story that's happened in my life. Now, when I was about 15 years old, maybe I was 14, somewhere in the 14 to 15 year range, I was at a function at a local university where a lot of kids got together and worked on different projects. So as a 14, 15 year old, I was working on this project, and my dad was supposed to come pick me up. Now, he didn't show up, and in hindsight, that's okay. But he didn't show up, and I was wondering what was going on. And I was able to find a ride back home. And when I got home, I didn't see anybody there. And I shouted out, "Hello, I'm home." And my dad came out of the room upstairs and waved me up. So I came up the stairs, and he and my mom were sitting in their room. A few of my other siblings were around. And my younger brother, he was probably, 9 or 10 or so at the time. He said, "Our grandma died." And I was like, what? What do you mean? And my mom, with tears in her eyes, said, "It's true. My mom died." And I was just shocked. The only thing I could think of doing was running into my room or going to the bathroom, jumping in the shower, and just crying. And I was in there for about 20, 30 minutes just crying and crying because I couldn't process that my grandma had passed away. And it was one of the worst feelings I'd ever experienced up to that point. And I eventually got out and got dressed and walked back to my parents' room, and there were still a lot of tears flowing, and I started crying again, and it was just a lot of tears and grief. So we made the long trek from Utah to Ohio. We ended up driving that whole way. Imagine that, a mom and a dad in a big vehicle with 5 kids. Whew, that was that was rough for me. And I'm the second oldest kid, so there you have it. So we drove out to Ohio so we could be part of the funeral, and I got to be one of the pallbearers, so I helped carry the casket. That was just a horrible experience. But, even though I was really sad and going through grief, and it was a tragic experience, I still look back on that time, and I'm grateful that I got to be part of it. I got to see a family come together, and people's perspective on life changed a little bit that day. And it's just, I don't know, it's just part of life that we have to go through. I'm sure many of you have lost someone that you love, and it's really difficult. And it's okay to cry. It's okay to grieve. That's all part of experiencing our true human emotions. Don't be afraid to cry. Don't be afraid to let those tears flow free. Because that's one way that we process through our grief. That's one way we heal. I've met all sorts of people who have processed losing a loved one differently. Some people cry and cry and cry, like me, and other people internalize their grief. Some people get angry. Some people go blank. They just don't know how to react, and they become zombie-like. We all process grief differently, but I think if we can offer our love and support to those who have lost someone, that's one of the best things we can. And you know what? If someone close to you loses someone, you don't have to know what to say to them. Sometimes the things that we try and say, although they come with good intention, can hurt. So sometimes it's just best to tell them, "I'm here for you," and leave it at that. And that's the one thing about showing your love and support, showing sympathy for others. So one thing I want to leave you with is a challenge. I challenge you to take a look at your life. Figure out the things that you are happy with. What are you proud of? What are your accomplishments? What makes you happy and excited? And I want you to hold on to those. And as you go through life, as you age year by year, I want you to remember those good things and keep them close to your heart. One thing I would encourage you to do is keep a journal and write down those experiences. That way, one day when it's your turn to go, you can look back on your life and remember those good times. And it's okay to write down the things that made you unhappy too. Just make sure to include the lessons that you've learned and how it's made you a stronger person. And my hope for each of us is when it's our turn to go, that we can look back on our lives and feel proud of who we've become, of the accomplishments we've made, the friends we've made, the family. I want to be remembered for my love for others, for always being kind and respectful and polite. And so I'm going to leave a question in the notes for you. I would love to get your responses. I'm not going to tell you what the question is right now, but I really look forward to reading your responses. And as always, I hope you have a great day. I'm so excited to have you here with me and that we're starting to grow this podcast. And I really look forward to many more episodes with you. Have a great day. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you for joining us today on Echoes of the Willow. As we close this episode, we reflect on the conversations about death, its impact, and the universal journey we all share. If today's topic has moved you or sparked reflection, we're here to listen. Be sure to answer the question in the notes. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other, as we continue to explore life's deepest echoes.